A Lone Scholar's Quest. Professor Eris Thorne, a man driven by an insatiable curiosity for the unknown, stood amidst the ruins of a civilization lost to time. The planet Tylos, now a barren wasteland, had once been home to beings of immense knowledge and power. Eris had dedicated his life to unraveling their secrets, sifting through the dust and debris, hoping to find a clue, a message, anything that could shed light on their sudden disappearance. The landscape of Tylos was unforgiving. Jagged, obsidian-like rocks jutted out from the ochre sand, casting long, eerie shadows under the pale light of the dying star it orbited. The air was thin and carried a metallic tang, a reminder of the planet's mineral-rich composition and its long history of cosmic bombardment. Deciphering the past, Eris carefully navigated the crumbling structures, his boots crunching on the loose gravel. The ruins were a labyrinth of collapsed walls and buried chambers, a testament to a civilization that had reached incredible heights before vanishing without a trace. He carried a scanner in his gloved hand, its soft hum the only sound besides the whisper of the wind. He paused before a massive stone monolith, its surface covered in intricate carvings. These glyphs, unlike anything he had ever seen, told a story of celestial events, of beings who communed with the stars, and of a looming darkness that threatened to consume everything. Eris ran his fingers over the cool stone, feeling the weight of history, the echoes of a forgotten people. "What were you trying to tell us?" he murmured, his breath misting in the cold air. "What was the warning you couldn't escape?" The ancient archives. Days turned into weeks as Eris meticulously documented every carving, every symbol, every fragment of information he could find. He had set up a small research camp near the central ruins, a self-contained habitat equipped with advanced analysis tools. His nights were spent poring over the data, trying to piece together the puzzle of Xylos. One evening, while examining a particularly well-preserved chamber, Eris discovered a hidden passage. It was concealed behind a rotating stone panel, its mechanism still functioning after millennia. With a surge of adrenaline, he stepped into the darkness, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. The passage led to a vast underground complex, a network of chambers filled with rows upon rows of crystalline tablets. These were the archives of Xylos, a repository of knowledge that had survived the ravages of time. Eris felt a sense of awe wash over him. He had stumbled upon the mother lode, the key to understanding everything. A cosmic warning. As Eris began to decipher the tablets, a terrifying picture emerged. The civilization of Tylos had been aware of a cosmic entity, a force of unimaginable power that drifted through the universe, consuming entire galaxies. They called it the Harbinger, a bringer of eternal darkness. The tablets revealed that the people of Tylos had attempted to fight the Harbinger, but their weapons were useless against its immense power. In a desperate attempt to protect other civilizations, they had encoded a warning into their ruins, a message meant to be discovered by anyone who dared to venture to their desolate world. Eris felt a chill run down his spine. The Harbinger was real, and it was coming. He had to warn humanity, to prepare them for the impending threat. But how could he convince them that a long-dead alien race had foreseen their doom? Race against time. With a renewed sense of urgency, Eris transmitted his findings to Earth. He sent detailed reports, images of the glyphs and translations of the tablets. He knew that time was of the essence. The Harbinger could arrive at any moment, and humanity had to be ready. But as he waited for a response, a strange phenomenon began to occur on Tylos. The ground trembled, the sky darkened, and the ruins seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy. The Harbinger was not only approaching, it was already influencing the planet, bending it to its will. Eris knew he had to escape. Tylos was no longer safe, but as he prepared to leave, he made a solemn vow. He would do everything in his power to ensure that humanity would not suffer the same fate as the people of Tylos. He would carry their warning to the stars and fight against the darkness until his last breath. A mysterious signal. Captain Eva Rostova stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, a state-of-the-art exploration vessel, gazing out at the star-dusted canvas of the Kepler 186s system. The system was known for its Earth-like exoplanet, a beacon of hope for potential colonization. However, the Odyssey was not there for colonization. Her mission was to explore anomalies, investigate strange readings, and seek out the unknown. The bridge was a hub of activity, with officers monitoring sensor arrays, navigation charts, and communication channels. The soft hum of the ship's engines filled the air, a constant reminder of the immense power at their disposal. Eva, a seasoned veteran with years of experience navigating the treacherous currents of space, felt a familiar sense of anticipation. This mission, like every mission, held the promise of discovery and the potential for danger. Suddenly, a sharp beep pierced the hum of the bridge. Lieutenant John, the communications officer, swiveled in his chair, his eyes widening. "Captain," he announced, "we're picking up a distress signal. Origin: Xylos." Eva frowned. Xylos was a desolate, abandoned planet, orbiting a dying star. It was known for its ancient ruins, remnants of a civilization that had mysteriously vanished. A distress signal from Xylos. That's unexpected. Run a full analysis, Jan. I want to know everything about this signal. Investigating Xylos. The analysis came back quickly. The signal was weak, garbled, but undeniably human. It contained fragments of data, images of strange glyphs, and a recurring word: harbinger. Eva felt a shiver run down her spine. The word had an ominous ring to it, a sense of impending doom. Who could be on Xylos? She wondered aloud. And what is this harbinger they're warning about? Despite the risks, Eva knew she had to investigate. If there were humans on Xylos, they needed help. And if the signal contained a warning about a potential threat, she had a duty to uncover it. "Set a course for Xylos, Jen," she ordered. "Maximum speed. And alert the away team. I want them ready to deploy as soon as we arrive." The Odyssey changed course, its powerful engines propelling it towards the desolate planet. As they approached Xylos, Eva couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading into something far more dangerous than they could imagine. Approaching the ruins, the Odyssey entered Xylos' orbit, its sensors scanning the planet's surface. The ruins were visible from space, a network of crumbling structures spread across the ochre landscape. Eva ordered a detailed scan of the ruins, hoping to locate the source of the distress signal. "Captain," Lieutenant Jan reported, "we've pinpointed the signal's origin. It's coming from a subterranean complex beneath the central ruins." Eva nodded. "Prepare the away team for immediate deployment. I want a full sweep of that complex. Find the source of the signal, and if there are any survivors, bring them back safely." The away team, led by Lieutenant Commander Ben Carter, a seasoned Marine with a reputation for bravery and tactical brilliance, boarded a shuttle and descended towards Xylos. Eva watched them go, her heart pounding with a mixture of hope and apprehension. The away team's descent. The shuttle landed near the central ruins, its landing gear kicking up clouds of dust. Carter and his team, clad in advanced combat armor, disembarked and moved towards the entrance to the subterranean complex. "All right, team," Carter said, his voice crackling over the comms. "We don't know what we're walking into. Stay sharp, keep your eyes open, and follow protocol. Let's find out who sent that signal." The team entered the complex, their weapons raised, their sensors scanning for any signs of danger. The air inside was cold and damp, and the silence was deafening. As they moved deeper into the complex, they began to notice strange anomalies, flickering energy fields, distorted gravity readings, and unsettling whispers that seemed to echo from the walls. "Something's not right here," Sergeant Major Anya Petrova, Carter's second-in-command, said, her voice grim. "This place is giving me the creeps." Carter nodded. "I feel it too. But we have a mission to complete. Let's keep moving." Encounter in the depths. As the team reached the central chamber of the complex, they found the source of the signal, a lone figure hunched over a damaged transmitter. It was Professor Eris Thorne, the xenoarchaeologist who had been studying the ruins. "Professor Thorne," Carter said, approaching him cautiously. "Are you all right? We received your distress signal." Eris looked up, his eyes wide with relief. "Thank God you're here," he said, his voice hoarse. "I've discovered something terrible, something that could threaten all of humanity." He explained to Carter about the Harbinger, the cosmic entity that consumed galaxies, and the warning left by the people of Xylos. Carter listened intently, his expression growing increasingly grim. "We have to warn Earth," Eris said urgently. "The Harbinger is coming. A desperate escape." Suddenly, the ground began to tremble. The walls shook, and the complex groaned under immense pressure. "What's happening?" Carter demanded. "It's the Harbinger," Eris said, his voice filled with dread. "It's awakening." The team knew they had to escape. They grabbed Eris and raced back towards the entrance, the complex collapsing around them. The ground cracked open, revealing chasms of darkness, and the air filled with the sound of something massive moving beneath the surface. They reached the shuttle just as the entire complex began to crumble. The shuttle lifted off, narrowly avoiding being crushed by falling debris. As they ascended, they looked back at the ruins and saw something rise from the depths. A colossal, monstrous form, its exoskeleton gleaming in the twilight. Carter stared in horror. "What is that thing?" he whispered. "That," Eris said grimly, "is the Harbinger's vanguard, and it's just the beginning." The shuttle raced back to the Odyssey, carrying the terrifying warning that would change the course of human history. Lost in the asteroid maze, Jax, a scavenger with more grit than sense, navigated his battered freighter, the Rusty Comet, through the treacherous Ethel asteroid belt. Ethel was a chaotic mess of space rocks, remnants of a destroyed planet, and home to pirates, smugglers, and anyone looking to disappear from the galactic authorities. Jax fit right in. His ship, a patchwork of salvaged parts and questionable engineering, rattled and groaned with every twist and turn. The interior was cramped and cluttered, filled with spare parts, energy cells, and the occasional half-eaten ration pack. Jax, a wiry man with a permanent 5 o'clock shadow and eyes that had seen too much, expertly piloted the comet through the asteroid field, his reflexes honed by years of experience. He was on the hunt for salvage, anything he could sell for a decent price at the next port. Ethel was a gamble. It could be a gold mine or a graveyard. Today, it felt more like the latter. An unexpected find. Suddenly, his sensors pinged. A small metallic object, drifting amidst the asteroids. It was too small to be a ship, but the energy signature was unusual. Curiosity piqued. Jax maneuvered the comet closer. The object was a data drive, encased in a damaged protective shell. It looked ancient, but the energy readings suggested it still contained information. Jax carefully retrieved it with a magnetic grapple and brought it aboard the comet. Well, he muttered, examining the drive. "What secrets are you hiding?" Back in his cramped workshop, Jax connected the drive to his ancient computer. The system whirred and sputtered, struggling to decipher the alien technology. After several tense minutes, the screen flickered to life, displaying a series of complex glyphs and images. Deciphering the message. Jax wasn't a scientist or an archaeologist, but he knew a thing or two about alien tech. He recognized some of the symbols from his travels, associating them with the long-lost civilization of Xylos. He also saw images of a colossal, monstrous entity surrounded by destruction. As he pieced together the information, a chilling realization dawned on him. The drive contained a warning, a desperate plea from a dying race. They spoke of a cosmic threat, a being of immense power that consumed entire worlds. They called it the Harbinger. Jax felt a shiver run down his spine. He had heard whispers of such things in the seedy spaceports of Ethel, tales of ancient evils and cosmic horrors. He had always dismissed them as drunken ramblings, but the data drive presented undeniable evidence. A decision to make. Jax knew he couldn't ignore this. The information on the drive was too important. He had to warn someone, but who would believe a scruffy scavenger from the Ethel asteroid belt? Then he remembered the Odyssey. He had heard rumors of a research vessel operating in the Kepler system, investigating strange anomalies. They were scientists, explorers, the kind of people who might take his warning seriously. It was a long shot, but Jax didn't see any other option. He plotted a course for the Kepler system and fired up the rusty comet's engines. The journey would be long and dangerous, but the fate of humanity might depend on it. Trouble in the belt. As Jax navigated through the asteroid belt, he noticed something was wrong. Other ships, pirate ships, were converging on his location. They must have detected the energy signature of the data drive and were after it for themselves. Jax cursed under his breath. He was outnumbered and outgunned, but he wasn't about to give up. He had a warning to deliver, and he would fight to the death to ensure it reached its destination. He activated the comet's defensive systems, preparing for a fight. The asteroid belt was about to become a battlefield, and Jax was right in the middle of it. Desperate measures. The pirate ships closed in, their weapons firing, sending blasts of energy whizzing past the comet. Jax skillfully maneuvered through the asteroids, using them as cover while returning fire with his ship's outdated cannons. He knew he couldn't win a direct confrontation. He had to use his wits and his knowledge of the asteroid belt to outsmart the pirates. He led them on a wild chase through the labyrinthine rocks, dodging obstacles and setting traps. One by one, the pirate ships fell victim to his cunning tactics. Some crashed into asteroids, others were disabled by well-placed shots. But more kept coming, relentless in their pursuit. Jax was running out of time and options. He had to make a desperate move. He activated the comet's emergency jump drive, hoping to escape the asteroid belt and reach the Kepler system. A risky jump. The jump drive was old and unreliable, and using it in the middle of an asteroid belt was incredibly risky. But Jax had no choice. He initiated the jump sequence, bracing himself for the turbulence. The comet shuddered violently as it ripped through space, leaving the asteroid belt behind. Jax held on tight, his knuckles white, as the ship hurtled towards the unknown. He had escaped the pirates, but he was far from safe. The jump drive could malfunction at any moment, leaving him stranded in the vastness of space. But he had to keep going, keep fighting, until he reached the Odyssey and delivered his warning. The fate of humanity depended on it. Whispers in the cosmic wind. Zora, a brilliant astrophysicist with a passion for unraveling the mysteries of the universe, stared intently at the holographic projection swirling around her. She was stationed at the Cygnus Observatory, a state-of-the-art facility nestled amidst a nebula of vibrant colors and swirling gases. Cygnus X1, a powerful X-ray source and potential black hole, was her area of expertise. But lately, her focus had shifted to something far more unsettling. She had been analyzing anomalous energy signatures emanating from the region, faint whispers in the cosmic wind that seemed to defy all known laws of physics. The signatures were erratic, unpredictable, and growing stronger with each passing day. Zara felt a growing sense of unease, a feeling that something profound and potentially dangerous was about to happen. Connecting the dots. Zara had received reports from Professor Thorne on Silos and the Odyssey regarding the Harbinger. Initially skeptical, she dismissed the warnings as the ramblings of a lone archaeologist and the overactive imagination of space explorers. But the energy signatures she was now observing forced her to reconsider. She cross-referenced her data with Thorne's reports, comparing the glyphs he had discovered with the patterns in the energy signatures. A chilling realization dawned on her. The two were connected. The Harbinger, whatever it was not just a myth or a legend. It was real, and its influence was spreading through the universe. "This can't be happening," she muttered, her voice barely audible above the hum of the observatory's equipment. "This is impossible." But the data didn't lie. The energy signatures were growing stronger, more frequent, and more aligned with the Harbinger's glyphs. Zara knew she had to act fast. She had to warn Earth, to prepare them for the impending threat. A desperate warning. Zora contacted the Earth Defense Forces, relaying her findings and urging them to take immediate action. She explained the connection between the energy signatures, the Harbinger's glyphs, and the warnings from Xylos. She presented the data, the evidence, the undeniable truth that humanity was facing a cosmic threat of unimaginable proportions. The response was mixed. Some officials dismissed her warnings as alarmist and unsubstantiated. Others, however, recognized the potential danger and began to mobilize their forces. Admiral Jan, the Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Fleet, took Zora's warnings seriously and initiated a global defense strategy. "We can't afford to ignore this," Jan said, his voice firm and resolute. "Even if there's only a small chance that Zora is right, we have to be prepared. Humanity's survival depends on it." Preparing for the unknown. Zora worked tirelessly, analyzing the energy signatures, trying to predict the Harbinger's trajectory and its intentions. She discovered that the signatures were focused on a specific region of space near Earth's solar system. It was as if the Harbinger was drawn to Earth, attracted by its energy, its life, its potential. Zara knew that Earth was vulnerable. Its defenses were inadequate to face a cosmic entity of the Harbinger's scale. She had to find a way to strengthen those defenses, to give humanity a fighting chance. She began to develop a plan, a radical and untested strategy that could potentially disrupt the Harbinger's approach. It involved harnessing the energy of Cygnus X1, focusing it into a powerful beam, and using it to create a distortion field that would deflect the Harbinger's influence. A risky gamble. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble, but Zara believed it was their only hope. She assembled a team of engineers and scientists, working day and night to build the necessary equipment and calibrate the energy beam. The task was daunting, the risks were immense, but Zara refused to give up. "We can do this," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We have to. Humanity's future is at stake." As the Harbinger drew closer, Zara and her team prepared to unleash their weapon, a beam of pure energy that could potentially save the world. But they knew that the Harbinger was a force unlike anything they had ever encountered, and the outcome of their battle was far from certain. Part 5. The Crucible of Ares VI. Defending the Frontier. Sergeant Marcus Cole, a hardened Marine with a 1,000-yard stare and a heart of steel, stood on the ramparts of the military outpost on Ares VI. The planet, a desolate red rock orbiting a distant star, was a strategic defense point, the last line of defense between Earth and the unknown. Cole had seen his share of battles, fought in countless wars, and faced down every kind of enemy imaginable. But the threat looming on the horizon was unlike anything he had ever encountered. The Harbinger, a cosmic entity that consumed galaxies, was coming, and Ares VI was in its path. Preparing for war, Cole had received the warnings from Zara and Admiral Jan. He knew the stakes were high, the odds were stacked against them, but he refused to back down. He rallied his troops, preparing them for the fight of their lives. "We are the shield that protects Earth," he said, his voice booming across the training grounds. "We are the guardians of humanity. We will not falter, we will not yield, we will not break." He drilled his troops relentlessly, honing their skills, sharpening their reflexes, pushing them to their limits. He equipped them with the latest weapons and technology, ensuring they were ready for any eventuality. He fortified the outpost, reinforcing its defenses, building new bunkers, and setting up automated turrets. Facing the unknown. As the Harbinger drew closer, strange phenomena began to occur on Ares VI. The sky turned a sickly green, the ground trembled with increasing frequency, and the air filled with an eerie silence. The planet seemed to be reacting to the Harbinger's presence, bending to its will. Cole knew that the Harbinger was not just a physical threat. It was also a psychological one, a force that could erode their morale, their hope, their will to fight. He did everything he could to maintain his troops' spirits, reminding them of what they were fighting for, the people they were protecting, the future they were defending. "We are not just soldiers," he said. "We are symbols of hope. We are the embodiment of human resilience. We will show the Harbinger that we will not be broken." The first strike. The Harbinger arrived without warning. A colossal wave of energy slammed into Ares VI, shaking the planet to its core. The outpost's shields flickered and strained, struggling to withstand the immense force. Cole ordered his troops to their battle stations, preparing to repel the Harbinger's assault. The automated turrets opened fire, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts and projectile rounds. The sky filled with explosions and streaks of light. But the Harbinger was too powerful. Its energy field deflected the turret's fire. Its tentacles smashed through the outpost's defenses, and its monstrous form loomed over the planet. Cole knew that they were outmatched, outgunned, and outnumbered, but he refused to surrender. He grabbed his weapon, a plasma rifle modified with alien technology, and charged into battle, leading his troops against the cosmic threat. A fight for survival. The battle was fierce and brutal. The Marines fought with courage and determination, pushing back the Harbinger's tentacles, destroying its drones, and inflicting as much damage as possible. But the Harbinger was relentless, its power seemingly limitless. Cole watched as his troops fell one by one, their bodies vaporized by the Harbinger's energy blasts. He felt a surge of grief and anger, but he refused to let it consume him. He had a duty to fulfill, a promise to keep. He would defend Ares VI to the last man, to the last bullet, to the last breath. As the Harbinger prepared to unleash its final attack, Cole stood defiant, his weapon raised, his eyes blazing with defiance. He was ready to face death, knowing that he had done everything he could to protect humanity. Preparing for the worst, Admiral Jen, the supreme commander of Earth's defense fleet, stood on the bridge of the command station Olympus, a massive orbital platform that served as the nerve center of Earth's defenses. He watched as the Harbinger approached Earth's solar system, its monstrous form casting a shadow over the planet. Jan had been preparing for this moment for years, ever since he had received the warnings from Xylos. He had mobilized Earth's forces, strengthened its defenses, and developed a strategy to counter the Harbinger's attack. But he knew that it might not be enough. Global defense strategy. Jan's plan was multifaceted. He had deployed a network of defense satellites around Earth, equipped with advanced energy weapons and shielding technology. He had mobilized the Earth's fleet, positioning its warships in strategic locations to intercept the Harbinger. He had activated the planetary defense grid, a network of ground-based energy cannons that could target the Harbinger from the surface. But Jan knew that the Harbinger was unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Its power was immense, its intelligence was unknown, and its intentions were unclear. He had to be prepared for anything. A beacon of hope. Jan received reports from Zara, detailing her plan to use the energy of Cygnus X1 to create a distortion field that would deflect the Harbinger's influence. He was skeptical, but he was willing to try anything. He authorized Zara to proceed, providing her with all the resources and support she needed. He knew that her plan was a long shot, but it was Earth's only hope.